Nice, man. Nice way
Nice.
to populate somewhat.
Yeah. Let me drop it on
Grab a beer.
an adult beverage.
Yeah. Oh, jeez. So how's things going with you, man?
Pretty good. Not too bad.
Yeah. I was talking to Adam the other day. I was like, what's funny is I don't know barely anything about Jared. I was like, the only thing I know about him is that like we play video games together sometimes, and that's about it.
Live in San Diego.
It's like, yeah, that you're a San Diego douchebag. Other than that,
that's really all you need to know.
I'm not gonna... Yeah, right. That's it. That's the only info I need.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
I usually visit, come through Connecticut every once in a while, because my family still lives over there. So next time I'm over there, we'll have to hang out.
Yeah, for sure. That sounds good. I mean, I used to come out to Cali like pretty regularly, but it's been a while since I've been out there. So I'm hoping to get back out there sometime soon. My dad's out that way, so.
Oh, really?
He lives in the Santa Barbara area.
Okay, that's a little up
like
north.
Santa Barbara, Santa Maria. Yeah, so I think you're in like where'd you say you live? Like the LA area?
No, I'm like super south, San Diego.
Or San Diego, you said.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, San Diego, that's right. Yeah, I know we went to the San Diego Zoo, I think, like once, and I remember it taking like 18 years to get there. I'm like, Jesus Christ, like, it took us forever to get there.
Oh, yeah,
and I was confused because I was like,
we're in the same
leave?
state.
Yeah, I'm like, did we leave California? And my dad's like, no, we're still in California. I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, it's taking us 8 hours to get there.
Coming from Connecticut, where it takes like, I don't know, 45 minutes to get across the state.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Nowhere in Connecticut is more than an hour away. Like you can get to everywhere in Connecticut within an hour. Like that's kind of like the rule of thumb. Like everywhere is like an hour.
Yeah.
But I don't know. We'll see how many people we get tonight. I know last time we did it, we got a decent amount of people, but I've noticed like it's been fluctuating lately. Like sometimes on the weekends when I'll stream, we'll get up there with viewers, and then on the weekdays
I can't figure out when like the best time is. But
yeah, I don't know either, because I tried to stream during the day. Like even when we were doing our 24-hour stream, like streaming during the day seems like we don't get as many hits as if we stream at night.
Yeah.
And then it's like depending on the time, because like one time I was just bored and like half drunk, so I was like, oh, I'm gonna stream at like 2, or like like it was like it had to be late. It was like 10 or 12 or something. Yeah, and it was tons of people. I was like, why are there so many people on in the middle of the night? It was really random. Yeah,
that's weird. I mean, the community is really small anyway, so I'm like just the Battlefront community, not the Star Wars community. But
yeah, no, I think, and like I said, I think once Adam's done with his training and he's like back at home able to like stream and stuff, then we're probably gonna switch it up a little bit and do like I said, once Battlefront 2 comes out, obviously we'll be tackling that a lot, but in that space between then we'll probably talk a little bit more about
people
The Last
don't
Jedi.
really care about this game anymore, I don't think.
Oh no,
they've seen
Battlefront itself is pretty dead.
They've seen enough. Battlefront's
pretty dead. Like I said last time, like once Battlefront 2 comes out, I don't see this game having like very much of a
replay value.
Pool,
no, not at all, man.
I mean, there really is no replay value, honestly. Like, there's all the guns. I mean, you can unlock all the star cards, but the thing with the star cards in this game is that they don't really feel like. I don't know. They don't. I don't know. There's like, because of the way like star cards would work in like in Battlefront 2, I just feel like in Battlefront, like the star cards were just like I would get them and I'd like use them like once.
Yeah,
and then I'd switch over to like another one, and then like I try another one. Like I felt like there were too many options for star cards, and then because of the fact that like there was like no set there was no class system or no skill system set in place, so you could kind of just use a star card and it didn't really matter. It just kind of felt like it was you were just using it.
Yeah, there were like no classes were kind of weird, and there wasn't like the variations on guns were cool, but it wasn't like significant. I know what you mean.
Exactly. Yeah, it just didn't feel like you were really working towards anything. Like
And
even like
yeah.
me and Adam were talking about like 100%ing the game, and you're like, you don't even want to. Like it doesn't even feel like there's an incentive to try and even do it.
There's not. It's just just because you're bored.
It's like, oh, I'm gonna finish my diorama. Like they made that like diorama thing, and I'm like, who cares? Like
that takes like 10 minutes to load.
Like, yeah, right. That was also the other thing about that. I'm like, why does it take forever? Like, especially when you hit it by mistake or something.
It's the worst.
Then you gotta wait for like 10 minutes to try to get it to work.
It's like party just joined the game. You're like, oh sweet, and you accidentally hit that. No.
Yeah, right.
Well, see you guys next round.
So congratulations, I've been awarded with 1,000 credits. Nice. I don't know why.
Oh, sweet.
Cool. I don't know what that was about. You know, I think it's funny, like, actually, I think we're getting awarded credits because we bought the DLC and now they're giving it away for free to everybody.
Oh, gosh.
So I noticed after they did that,
I have so many credits.
They started giving you, like, credits. Yeah, I know you do, dude. You don't use them for anything. Oh, there's nothing to use them for.
I know.
There's literally nothing to
all
use
I buy
them for
is my, like, charge cards, so, like, my bubbles and my, like, I don't know, adrenaline stims. Yep. That's all I need. That's the only thing
I think, like, that's the other good thing is, like, credits are actually going to go somewhere in the next game.
Yeah.
Like, we can actually use them for something,
for
which
loot
is,
crates.
like... Yeah, for loot crates, exactly. So it's actually going to be, like, worth it, where in this game, it's like, you can stack credits forever, and if you get, like... If you basically are using the setup that you want to use, then there's really no need to even... Yeah, you can just use it forever. Because honestly, there were some, like, setups in that game that are straight OP. Like, there were some setups in that game that I saw people using that were just, like, absolutely ridiculous, where it seemed like no matter what, they were just getting kills left and right. But, yeah, man, like I said, I don't know, Battlefront is definitely, like, it was fun, and I had a good time with it, and obviously, like, it was enough to keep me busy up until this time. But
yeah, it was a fun
after
game.
Playing the beta...
I mean, we played it for a very long time. Yeah.
Yeah, it was 2 years. I mean, it was 2 years worth of playing it, so it wasn't like I didn't get my time in. I'll have to check and see when I get a chance how many actual hours I put into this game. I think you can check like on your profile thing or whatever.
Yeah, either that or on the app. And I know it's an embarrassing amount for me.
That was the other thing. Like a lot of people were like, "Oh, there's no companion app for Battlefront 2," and I'm like, "So?"
Oh, for Battlefront 2?
It was
they'll release one.
Yeah, for Battlefront 2. I was happy there was no companion app.
I think they'll release one.
I was like annoyed with the companion app.
It's like free money.
Yeah, it is free money for them. It just seemed like what annoyed me about the companion app was that in order to be able to get certain trophies or certain things like in game, you had to use the app. And I just thought that was so dumb. I was like, I don't really always. Yeah, and not only that, but if you actually played the app and played the game, it
wasn't very fun.
Really hard. It wasn't fun at all, and then it got really difficult extremely quickly. Like within like a couple hours of playing the game. Yeah, like within 2 levels, I was like, how the heck am I supposed to unlock anything when I like can't ever win? Like, I actually like was like legitimately considering spending my own real money on that game. And then I was like, you know what, no, it's not.
That's when you know it's bad. I thought about that with Pokemon Go too, and I was like, alright, chill out. It's just a game.
Dude, with Pokemon Go, like, we got bad, man. Me and my wife got not so great.
Were you the couple driving around the Walmart parking lot trying to hatch eggs?
Oh gosh, we didn't get that bad. We didn't get that intense. Like,
because I saw a YouTube video of people doing that, and I was like, are you kidding me?
Oh my god, dude! I just saw this video of a guy who took a flight. Like, I think it was like
to Chicago?
a $500 plane ticket or something like that. No, not for the event, just to catch a Pokemon.
Oh, what?
Like, he has that app or whatever.
Oh
like,
my
I
goodness.
can't remember the name of like the website.
Yeah, I know
what
you're talking about.
Where
it
like
tells you where
Pokemon like spawn.
Yeah.
And I guess he like it was like 2 states or 3 states over or something like that. And you know, he was a pretty well-off dude, so he grabbed the plane ticket and hopped the flight so he could go catch the Pokemon, and was there within like literally. He got there, landed, went to the place to catch the Pokemon, got back on the plane and flew home.
I mean, if that's what you like to do, whatever, but goodness.
That's too much, man. That's just way too much. Like, that's dedication on a level that I'll never have. Like, I'll never love dedication for sure. That much, unfortunately. And, like, yeah, Pokemon Go is pretty decent, but like you said, it's kind of the same thing where it's like, you know, we got to the point, me and my wife were like, all right, well, if we're going to spend money on the game, we need to justify it in some way. So, like, our justification, or my justification more than anything, was like, all right, well, I spent $60 on a game that I really like, and I really like this game.
Oh, but it's a phone game.
I was like, I like this game, so I'll spend a little bit of money here and there. I don't know if we ever broke $60. I don't think we ever broke $60 because it was like $5 here, like $10 there, and then like I kind of was like, screw this game. Like I don't want to spend money to do that. It just doesn't make any sense. But anyway, so what's up, ladies and gentlemen? Thanks for joining us. Another week where we're here talking to you. Adam is not with us today. It's just me and Jared.
He's no longer with us.
He's no longer with us. Just kidding. He's not dead. Please don't troll our thing. Talking about how now Adam is dead. He's not dead. He's just training or something like that. But yeah, so last week we said we were going to go ahead and chat with you guys about a couple of the fan theories that we thought were worth talking about. Some of this stuff we've talked about a little bit before, so it might be a shorter episode tonight. Because I don't want to just like beat a dead horse, which is one of the weirdest sayings
It really is. I hear it all the time. I'm like,
I don't know
so
where
weird.
it comes
Who thought
from.
of that?
I don't know where it comes from, man. Like, I just thought about this the other day. I'm like, who? First off, like, in order for a saying to come around, someone had to like be there in that moment where the guy was like, "Dude, stop beating the horse, man. Like, he's dead."
There's got to be a horse beater somewhere.
There's a horse beater somewhere who just goes way overboard way too frequently. He just takes his job way too seriously.
Dude, that horse is dead. Stop beating it, man.
Just stop beating the horse, bro. Like, you killed it. But yeah, guys. In order to keep from doing that, I'm gonna try to not harp on theories or harp on things that we've talked about in length. But yeah, so I was doing some research over the week, and as last week on Monday we got The Last Jedi's second trailer. It was really great. We talked about it last week, and we just gave our kind of overall impressions of what we really loved about the trailer and what we were kind of expecting now that we, have this awesome trailer. And from that, we got a lot of new fan theories and a lot of fan theories that people feel like now they've been backed up kind of with what they think. I think that we're all wrong, but we will see. I guess we only got like 2 months. A month left till Battlefront. 2 months left until The Last Jedi. So we're getting down there, man. Like, we're cutting it close. Like,
it's getting close.
Getting down to the wire
it's a great time to be alive. I can tell you that much. If you're a Star Wars fan, this is a good time to be alive.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, if you're a fan of anything nerdy right now, even just these next couple months is a real cool time because Thor is coming out soon, I think.
Yeah, Thor, and I saw a trailer for Black Panther. I didn't realize that was coming out pretty soon.
Yeah, Black Panther's actually I was the same. I was surprised. I thought that had a longer. I thought we were going to be waiting longer for that movie. I saw him in Civil War.
Yeah, he was honestly the best part about Civil War. So that movie should be good.
I definitely agree with you there, because I mean, I wasn't the largest fan of Civil War, but
I thought that movie was terrible.
Black Panther. Oh yeah, I was just being nice because I thought maybe you liked it. I really didn't like it at all.
I hate that movie.
Yeah, I really hated. I hated that movie. I didn't like it one bit, and I mean, I had many problems with it, and I mean, on the weekends we typically talk about movies and things that we like that have nothing to do with Star Wars. So maybe this weekend we'll hop on and talk about
why Civil War was terrible.
We'll talk about why we really hated Civil War. But I'm not the biggest fan of Civil War at all. But this next couple months is going to be a really good time. I mean, Last Jedi's coming out. Like I said, the Battlefront's on its way. I don't know if anybody out there likes the show Stranger Things.
Oh man!
But Stranger Things.
Oh jeez, I forgot that comes out
season.
In like a week, right, or something? A couple weeks?
Yeah, Yeah, I think that's either next week or the week after, but it's really soon.
Oh man! I'm gonna watch it all.
Oh no! I think in like 2 weeks or something. But either way, yeah, right. I mean, I'm gonna binge watch the crap out of it. But if you watch Stranger Things, that's coming out. If you watch The Walking Dead is back on Sunday. So yeah, if you're kind of into nerdy stuff and you like kind of more horror, gory stuff, this is your time of year because everything's coming out right now. Plus, I believe The Evil Within 2 just came out like a couple days ago. It came out on Friday the 13th, so cool. Yeah, check that out if you haven't had a chance to, guys. The Evil Within was really good. I didn't pick up The Evil Within 2, but I do plan on at least giving it a try. But so fan theories. I tried to go with my top 10 theories overall. We're gonna try to cover as much of this as we can in a way that makes sense, because I don't want to just and we're going to try to take your questions too, but I don't want to just you know, speculate wildly. I want to try to make sense of some of these theories. That was like kind of my goal, is to actually like talk about these fan theories and try to make them make sense, or just completely dispel them because there's no way that they can make sense. So first one is Ben's redemption, or Ben, aka Kylo Ren.
Kylo Ren. Yeah.
There's a lot of people speculating because of this last trailer, and just because there's that whole theory that Han was the one who killed himself. I guess, which is, I hate that theory. I just don't think it makes any sense. Like, I just don't get it. Like, why would Han kill himself? Like, I don't get that. That's so against his character. Like, that's so against Han Solo's character to like commit suicide. That's like, I don't know. He's so into himself. You know what I mean? Like, Han Solo loves himself so much. Like, why would he kill himself?
But if there's one person that could turn you away, it's your kid. You know, change your ways a little bit.
That's true. That's true. I guess if there was one person who was gonna, but even still, I'm like, I don't know. Man.
I agree.
A big leap to, like,
I was really into that
like,
when the movie first came out, because I don't know. I was like, maybe he ignited it. But every time I watch it, I just
because everyone wanted to avoid the truth, which is that Han was killed by his son. Like, we just wanted anything to make it so that maybe it like made the moment not nearly as heartbreaking.
That whole scene is just heartbreaking, man. Chewie and Rey, it's just like the whole thing was just terrible.
Chewie's is rough. Hey, dude, did you ever notice that in this level, over here in the corner is Luke's speeder, all beat down and not working anymore? Yeah, I'm like looking over here now. I'm like, I never noticed this until right now. I'm gonna take a picture of it.
That's cool.
That's awesome. It's yeah, I never noticed that. That's freaking incredible. Anyway, sorry, that was super random, but I just noticed that. I was like, oh wow, that's awesome. But yeah, so people think that Ben is gonna have some sort. I don't even like calling him Ben. Like, I don't even like calling him
Just call him Kylo.
I just call him Kylo. Like, calling him Ben, I don't know, man. It humanizes
some
him
people
too
don't
much.
even like we know his name is Ben, but some people don't even know his name is Ben. So you can just call him Kylo.
Which is hilarious. But all right. So some of the reasons why people think that Kylo is gonna be redeemed. So number one, he has that moment in the movie where he says he still feels the call to the light, and that he like needs needs his grandfather's guidance.
Yeah.
And a lot of at first a lot of people were saying like, oh, he's like kind of saying like right there he feels the call to the light, so obviously the light hasn't been extinguished within him. However, there are some other people that are saying that this like what actually lets us know he's going to go back to the light side. Or not even necessarily back to the light side, because some people are saying that it's not that he's going to go back to the light side, but it's going to be that he's not on the dark side anymore, so he's not really on either team. He's just kind of playing this like rogue, like force user who's going to be like, affecting things.
Yeah, which is cool, because we haven't really seen that before, but it's not really Star Warsy, you know what I mean? It's not, you kind of have to pick your side.
Yeah, I don't really feel like, that's kind of how it's been, and maybe that's like the big change that they're talking about, is that like, we're going to see like this big change in how everybody approaches the Force.
It's not so black and white anymore. It's like maybe you can kind of be in between, but I don't know. That's
true. Yeah. I mean, we'll see. I mean, I think that's the impression that they're definitely giving with the trailers, is that it's not just one way or the other now, that it's definitely like we're getting this idea that
it's more fluid than we thought it was.
That the idea of the Force isn't good or bad 100% or black and white 100%. Like there's gray areas.
Oh jeez.
That we have to like kind of be wary about. So people are thinking that he's gonna fall into that gray area.
In between
realm.
good and bad.
He's gonna fall in there, and here's my idea with this theory. I think it's a great theory, and I think out of all the ones that I've read today and over the week, that this is the closest one that to actually maybe possibly happening. Maybe possibly. Because honestly, like, it would go more along the, like you said, it would be more Star Wars-y, which I think needs to go in the Webster Dictionary next year. That's the new word that they add. Official word, Star Wars-y. So I think it would be more along the lines of what we expect, from Star Wars, for him to follow along with his grandfather's path, which was one of redemption. Like, at the end of the day, and I think you made this point last time we talked about Kylo possibly being redeemed, and Adam was like, no, I just can't see that happening. You made the point that, Vader killed a bunch of kids, and not only that, he did much worse things. Like, one of the books I just recently read, he slaughtered an entire village worth of men, women, and children, which is not the first time that he's done this. So, Vader was a pretty bad dude. Like, he didn't have many good parts about him, and still managed to redeem himself in the end. So, and for those people saying, like, oh, Kylo killed Han Solo, there's no coming back from that. Well, I would argue that if you can come back from killing a room full of children,
you can definitely come back
from killing one guy. You know what I mean? Plus, I feel like the way that they're painting it is they really want us to feel bad for Kylo Ren. Like, the way that they're stringing us along is like they want us, even from The Force Awakens, not just from these trailers, it seems like they really want us to have some, like, to feel bad for him, to feel like, this isn't 100% his fault. Like, he's kind of like...
That's a great point.
Like, he has, like, almost those redeeming qualities about him where we kind of see, like, the cracks in the wall. And so it doesn't seem like they're... At no point in time have I gotten the impression that they're fully trying to paint him
as a bad guy,
the 100% bad guy. Like, he's 100% the worst dude in the franchise.
You and Adam brought up a great point when saying that, Han and Leia weren't exactly great parents. So, for them, I think they were just counting on Luke to kind of be like the father figure, when really he needed his mom and dad more in his upbringing. But, I think you and Adam talked about that earlier, and I thought that was a good point. So it's not 100% Kylo's fault that he's a little messed up.
No, it's not at all. And I mean, we can use that in real world terms, in the sense that, like, people are a product of their environment. Like, 100%. If you're not a great person, that usually has... I mean, some people are just born dicks. I mean, that's like... that's just the truth of it. But, I mean, in most cases, how you turn out is how you were brought up. And so, we can use that for Kylo, too, where it's we get this sense that he's not 100% responsible for the way he turned out. Because, like we talked about, Han and Leia definitely didn't do what they were supposed to do in terms of parenting. And then, like you said, they left it to Luke, who, as awesome as Luke was, he had
a bunch of other students, too, though. I mean, he was trying to bring up a whole new generation. They were all busy, which was unfortunate. They kind of just let...
Yeah, which was unfortunate.
Yeah, I think they just let Kylo slip through the cracks a little bit. They didn't see what was coming.
Yeah, and it sucks because it's kind of the same thing, I feel like, with Anakin, and maybe this is another way of how he kind of follows his grandfather, but it's the same with Anakin, where I felt like the Jedi Council could have done so many things to keep Anakin from turning to the dark side. Like, all they really had to do was just be decent human beings. Like, they just had to be good people.
You watch Revenge of the Sith, it's almost like, come on, what are you guys doing? Like,
Oh yeah,
Mace.
that's how I felt throughout. And you do get this idea throughout the Revenge of the Sith. That's like a really good point, is because throughout the Revenge of the Sith, you do get this idea of like, the Jedi aren't.
Mace Windu was just kind of a dick to him. He was a dick.
Mace Windu was the worst, dude. Mace Windu was such a jerk for no reason. From the minute he met him, even when he was a kid, like he couldn't even be nice to him. From when he was a kid, like he was a little boy, so you suck.
It's like you know Mace is right, but it's like, come on, dude. If you're a little bit nicer,
just ease up a little bit. I know you're right. You can just be nice about it. Like you don't have to be such a jerk about it.
Exactly.
Like it's fine to be honest about like how you feel, but like he was just mean to Anakin in life. And then I honestly felt like the whole granting him rank of master was more of a
slap in the face.
I felt like it was more to spite him.
Yep.
When at the end of the day, than for actual reason, because it's like, why not? The dude is like the only one who doesn't trust Anakin is Mace. Like Yoda is weird about him, but like he's never like Mace Windu, who's just like outrightly like I don't like you.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of this kid,
like,
but
Mace Windu's never like ever shown Anakin any like, oh yeah, maybe you know I'll trust you one day. Like from the moment he met him, he's like, no, I'll never trust you. And I don't believe that you're ever gonna be anything but like the dark side user. Like he just never gave him a chance. And I think that was to their own downfall. And like like I'm saying, like I feel like that's the same thing that kind of happened with Kylo, whereas he wasn't really ever, he was never really given a fair shot because when he was supposed to be taken care of and loved by his parents and all this great stuff that we all really needed as a kid.
Dumped him off to Luke.
Yeah, exactly. They bumped him off to Luke, and we're like, all right, you handle it. It's like basically they sent him off to boarding school. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah, like military school, something like that. It's just.
Yeah, and his rebellion, and because he's a Force user and was like scooped up by Snoke, his rebellious phase was to, instead of going out and drinking beer and going to parties or something, he killed his dad. So he went a little far with it, but that was kind of like his little rebellious streak there. But I do have some, inkling thinking that he's gonna come back. Or not come back to the light side, because it's hard to know if he was ever really there, because we don't know much about Kylo when he was young.
Hopefully we find out more.
Yeah, I'm thinking that there's no way we can get through this whole movie without a flashback scene, like because of all the things that need to be explained before the movie ends, or at least before the second movie comes around. Or I'm sorry, the third installment of this trilogy. Yeah. Before it comes around, we still have so many things we need to know.
Oh, so much.
In order for them to do that, exactly. In order for them to do that, they have to do some flashback at some point in time, with at least two of the characters. Like, so we can kind of figure, like, Luke has to have a flashback.
Oh, Luke, yeah. I think they kind of showed it in the trailer a little bit, where he was crawling out of the ashes.
Oh, right.
But
right.
There has to be one with Kylo too, because I mean, if you look at in the Force Awakens, probably the most important scene was Rey's flashback. So I'm thinking there's going to be similar flashbacks in the next one. So hopefully.
No, very true. I'm hoping that they are, that there are flashbacks that like give us, the fan service and make sure that we're not like seeing dumb stuff that we didn't need to see or something. Like, I don't know. I'm just hoping that they don't do a dumb job with it, and like sometimes it's like flashbacks will be in a movie and it's like excessive, but we will see. We will see. What's up, Savage Person 2.0? Thanks for joining us. We're discussing fan theories after the wake of the what was the trailer and all the explosions of awesomeness that is created. Where we just talked a little bit about Ben, aka Kylo, whether or not he can be redeemed or not. I'm thinking that he possibly can. I don't know, Jared. What do you think?
Oh, he definitely
Yay
can.
or nay?
Oh, without a doubt. Like, for sure he can be redeemed. Just based on the fact that Anakin was redeemed, that it seems to be a pretty big margin for what you can do and get away with it.
Yeah, exactly. That's if anything, that's really the biggest thing, is that like his grandfather was not that he got away with a lot of stuff, because obviously he was punished. he was punished for it. He lived with it every day. Like, I think one thing that people don't understand or that people don't realize is that Darth Vader is in constant pain.
Yeah.
When he's in that suit. That suit isn't comfortable at all. It's not like he's in there like, oh,
chill.
This is great. Like, I'm not feeling like he still feels, where he was burned. Like, he still, struggles with that. And
the loss of Padme eats at him every day.
Oh, yeah, that's also true. So, it's like, one thing that really needs to be remembered is, like, Vader's always in pain. He's in constant pain all the time. So the redemption for him wasn't just necessarily about coming from the light side to the dark, but it's that whole that whole line of progress that Yoda warned him about, which was, if you become afraid, then you'll become angry. If you become angry, then you'll, all these other things. And then his final kind of mode was suffering. Like, that was really what Vader did, was he suffered.
Yeah, and I think it really speaks to, like, how the dark side really changes your mind. Like, I don't think he was really there when he was kind of, like, doing all these things, like killing younglings. That wasn't Anakin. That was more like the dark side twisting his mind. So
that wasn't Anakin at all.
It's more of a mindset.
That was what happens. Exactly. I think it wasn't Anakin whatsoever. I think that what we saw of that was obvious, and that's a really good point in the sense that that's why they don't ever call Darth Vader Anakin. That's why when Luke first asked about his dad, Obi-Wan told him that his dad had died and that Vader was the one who killed him, because there's that idea that there's this separation where Anakin and Vader are two different people, and when he did decide to cross that line and accept the dark side, he became Darth Vader. Yeah, he became a whole new person and a whole different person, and like I said, one of the biggest reasons as to why Darth Vader is my favorite storyline or story arc, and why he's my favorite character within Star Wars in general, is just because how we learn, like I was saying before, like how closely love and hate are actually related, and how quickly and how simply one can go to the other. Where it's it starts out with love, and that's really what it was for Padme, is that he loved her, but the idea of losing her drove him to hate.
Too much.
Yeah, it was too much. It was so much that it drove him to be pretty much one of the worst, one of the baddiest bad guys in cinema history. Of all time. So, I mean, yeah, so I think if Vader, who is much worse than his grandson, who did much worse things and that we know of, like I said, we don't know everything that has to do with Kylo yet, so he could have done some crazy stuff that we have no idea. But, I mean, from what we know...
I'm sure Snoke gives him these trials or whatever that he has to complete. It's like,
oh yeah, just like Palpatine did. Like Palpatine did with Vader, where he, put him in situations where, even with beheading Dooku, you know what I mean? Even that was like Palpatine testing him, where it was like, do it. That's one of my favorite scenes, man. That's to this day is one of my favorite scenes because of how casual and nonchalant the Emperor's being about the whole thing.
Oh man, it's so
where
good.
he's like just kind of chilling in like his own like whatever. Like it was that's one of my favorite scenes. But so yeah, guys. First theory: can Ben or Kylo be redeemed and be able to make it over to the light side of the Force? Yeah, we think so. We think that is definitely a possible theory, and it actually does have some merit. So next,
you don't buy into the fact that Han ignited the saber.
I'm not buying it. That's the one part of that I'm just not buying.
Yeah, I don't buy it either.
I can't fall into that, and it's only because of it's only because of Snoke mostly, because Snoke would have known if that's how it happened.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, Snoke would know if that's how it went down. Like, if Snoke is as much of as a Force user as we think he is, and now we've gotten 100% proof that he is very, like, pretty powerful with the Force. I mean,
Wrecking Rey.
He's levitating this chick, and, like, he's torturing her just from, like...
Rey's a monster.
Not just a chick, but Rey. Like, yeah, Rey's a beast. And that's also already been proven, is that Rey is a straight beast. So, we know that Snoke is... really powerful, so I'm just thinking that, like, there's no way he could have gone back to Snoke and be like, yeah, I killed him.
Yeah, I definitely did it.
Yeah, definitely killed him.
Check my saber, man.
Me.
check it.
Yeah, that's really one of the biggest reasons why I just don't think that theory makes any sense. Plus, if you just go through Harrison Ford's interviews and stuff like that, I mean, it's pretty clear, like, he was pretty much wrapped up with the whole Han Solo thing anyway.
Yeah, he was done.
He really wanted to see Han Solo make his way out. So I don't think that's a good one. But, you know, it is possible that Ben does turn back to the light side, but I don't think him killing his dad is a part of that. So,
I agree
so
with
yeah,
that.
guys, on the other side of that is another theory that I wanted to talk about. I got a couple to go through. I don't know if we're going to make it through all of them, but I'm going to try to go through as many as I can. So, the downfall of Rey is the next one I wanted to talk about.
Oh boy.
So, it's kind of like the opposite of what we were just talking about before. Rey, man, this is a tougher one, because I can see Kylo turning to the dark side before I could see Rey turning to the light side. But before I get into why I don't know if this theory will work, let me give you guys some reasons as to why some people do think this theory could work. So yeah, there's this whole idea that first point I wanted to make was that Rey was actually being in communication. If you go and read the novelization of The Force Awakens, which, you know, now that I think about it, and I don't know, maybe you would know the answer to this, man, but is that when they novelize book or movies and they turn them into books, are those considered canon?
Yeah, it's considered canon.
Okay. All right. So, because
Yeah.
I was like, you know, I never knew if it was more like considered like a script, or if it's like, you know, I don't know, or if it's actually like, you know, this is kind of like the alternative version of the movie, or
no, it's
or
canon.
You know how realistic it is. So okay, if it is canon, then that's awesome, because I did want to make a couple points from the book, but I just want to make sure they actually made sense first. But yeah, so with that being said, and it is canon, during the book, and during the scene where we see in the movie, where we see Rey circling Kylo, and she's kind of like, you see her kind of like playing, not kind of playing with the decision to like either finish him or, you know, like let him live, but you see her kind of like circle him and kind of like staring down at him after she kind of like throws in that almost killing blow before like the, you know, cracks in the earth happen. During that scene in the book, Snoke actually uses the Force to communicate with Rey and tries to egg her on to kill Kylo.
Oh, that's interesting. I actually didn't know that.
I wasn't aware of this either until just the other day, and I was like floored, because I'm like, how did I not know this before? Because I feel like it puts a big kind of damper on a lot of different theories. But so there's this idea that because Snoke is communicating with her and influencing her, that she is open to the dark side of the Force because he's able to, you know, basically get in her mind a little bit and mess with her. And that he's influenced, and that he has more of an influence on her than we're realizing.
Yeah. I had no idea. That's
this
crazy.
is kind of, yeah, I didn't know this either. This is kind of a crazy theory, and like I said, it's going off some stuff that's in the book, so it's going to be hard for people to kind of like, you know, to grasp this one in terms of like, you know, facts, because we don't really have everything we need from the movie to kind of like back this one up. But
yeah.
I think that one of my reasons is that I could see for supporting this theory was that on top of Snoke you know, kind of from not realizing that she had, we didn't, like I said, we didn't have this connection, we didn't realize she had this connection, but now that I know it, and she does kind of have this connection with Snoke, I can see maybe how in some of, like, in that moment where she was fighting, she gets that look on her face where she looks like she really wants to take down Kylo. She's giving him this look like, you know,
she's definitely thinking about it.
I could kill you if I... Yeah, she's like, I could kill you if I wanted to. And in fact, like, I might just do it. Like, you know, she has this look like she's almost thinking about it. And that's not a light side thing to think. That's definitely not something that you would want. Yeah.
But she hasn't really had any training at that point. Like, she doesn't really even know about the light side or dark side, aside from the rumors that she's heard. So
that's true.
She's just going
off of raw emotion.
Yeah.
Oh, there's that word again, raw.
Raw.
Oh, it's raw. It's raw. Do you ever watch what's his name? Gordon Ramsay?
Yeah. Oh man.
It's raw.
I saw a really funny video about him, but we'll talk about that later.
Anyway, so yeah, and then the other supporting kind of fact behind this to support this theory. Just real quick, I want to interrupt myself real fast. Bro Reviews, I see you on here, and we will definitely sub you once I get the chance. We're going through our, you know, our weekly kind of podcast type thing right now, so I got a couple things open. I'm looking at my notes that I took. I'm doing some stuff, so I can't do it at the moment, but once I get a chance, we will sub you back. Thanks for the sub. We really appreciate it. Also, just real quick, for those people who jump on, and this is me I'm not necessarily throwing shade, but you know who you are. I'm not trying on purpose to throw shade, but you know exactly who I'm talking about. For the people who jump on and they'll be like, "Hey, I subbed, sub me back." I just want you to know, I can see if you sub or not. I can check and see if you actually sub, and if you don't, then I can tell. So don't say that you subbed and then like have me sub you and then don't actually sub us, because that's really annoying. But yeah, just a quick little PSA, because a couple times I had some people like, yeah, I subbed, and I'm like, no, you didn't. You definitely
don't
didn't
lie
sub.
to me.
But yeah, Bro Reviews, I did see that you actually did sub, so I do appreciate that sub, and we will definitely sub you back. We're on our way to about $120.
Nice.
When it comes to subscribers, we're getting there. And we're trying to make our way. We made it to 100. That was like the big milestone. We did it, and now we're trying to get to 200 before the year turns. So help us get there, so we can give out some more stuff. And we are affiliated with Cube Gamers now. I haven't finished kind of wrapping us into that, but if you guys do want a chance to win more prizes, go check out cubegamers.com and become a patron there, because then you have more chances to win. So, but yeah, let's get back to Rey and her demise. Not really, but. So I think maybe demise, yeah. One of my kind of facts to support this theory, and after I support the theory, I'll go ahead and destroy it. But
perfect.
One of my facts is that I think that if either one of them is going to turn, so if it's either Rey turning to the dark or Kylo turning to the light, I think it'll be Rey turning to the dark in the sense that she has more to be upset about. Like, she has more to gain from the dark side, I feel like, than Kylo does. Like, Kylo knows who his parents are. Kylo knows where he's from. He knows who his family is. Like, and not only does he know who his family is, he comes from, like, a really well-off family who's, like,
he's a
pretty
Skywalker.
much two of the most... Yeah, he's a Skywalker. And he comes from, like, literally two of the most famous people in the galaxy. Like, Leia Organa is considered, like, a god, you know, to rebels. And she's a general, you know what I mean? And not only that, but she's like one of the most famous... Exactly, she's like one of the most famous generals... Force sensitive, yeah.
Yeah.
But she's one of the most famous generals of all time within the Star Wars universe. Like, in the book Bloodline, she's walking through this, you know, town square in this planet, and she can barely get from one end to the other without being stopped a million times, just because of the work that, you know, the work that Leia, Han, and Luke did to save the galaxy. It's not like it went unnoticed and people don't know who they are. Like, Luke, Leia, and Han Solo are three of the most famous people in the galaxy. And this is this is the son and nephew of these people. You know what I mean? Like, he didn't. It's not like he grew up in some like hard Scrabble. He didn't grow up like his. Excuse me, I got a little hiccups from my alcoholic beverage here.
Like his grandpa.
Yeah, she. You know, he didn't grow up like his grandfather did, where he was a slave. You know, he watched his friends be traded and, you know, sold into slavery and things like that. He grew up on a desert planet and, you know, got really good at pod racing. Like, he didn't, you know, that was no part of his upbringing at all. So, you know, I feel like Kylo is kind of just... He's being spiteful. Like, Kylo is spiteful. Like, he's joining the dark side for the wrong reasons. Like, Anakin joined the dark side out of almost necessity. Like, Anakin joined the dark side because he needed to be able to find a way to save the people he loved. So he joined the dark side because he, in his mind, he had to. There was no option. Like, in order to do the things that he needed to do, the dark side was the only one who was going to be able to give him the power to do it. Kylo didn't really join for the same reasons. Like, Kylo joined out of anger towards his parents and out of like spitefulness towards his parents. Like, but there was no necessity. Like, as far as we know, like, obviously there are things that we don't know yet, but as far as we know, there was no one like holding a gun to Kylo's head and was like, all right, you know, join the dark side or die. Like, you know, I mean, once again, we don't know 100% if that's true.
We have
but
no idea,
from what
but you're
we know
just
so
speculating.
far,
Yeah,
but from speculation and what we know so far, it doesn't seem like Snoke forced Kylo into it. It seemed like he coaxed him into it. It was more of a like, oh man, you know, your parents suck. Well, we got this real cool dark side club you can join.
Oh, do they know how
It's
powerful you are? You're great. You're so special.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Like, oh, you're so awesome. Your parents are they just don't understand you, man. Like,
they just
I
don't
do.
get it.
They
Your
just
uncle,
don't
he
get you
sucks
the way.
too.
You know, he'll get you the way Uncle Snokey gets you. But like, but I think that for the most part, Rey does have more to gain from joining the dark side. I mean, she doesn't know who her parents are, and I think I might have made this point before, but you know, she doesn't know who her parents are. So if there's anyone that is a dark side user like Snoke, who may happen to have the secrets of her parentage, she might join the dark side just to be able to get
just to
them.
be lured in there, yeah.
Yeah, just to be able to get back to her, because I mean, she was ready. Like, she was basically taking on the most awesome adventure in her lifetime, with Han Solo, and you know, going to Takodana and all this other things, and she was ready to go back home because she was still thinking like, oh, they might come back for me.
Yeah.
You know, Han was like, hey, come travel the galaxy with me. Like, get
He's
off
like,
you know, get off yeah, I almost called it Tatooine. Get off Jakku, and she's like, oh no, I gotta go back. And,
I gotta go back.
You know, just like, yeah, like Finn says, like, you know, why does everybody want to go back to Jakku? Like, but you know, she had her reasons for wanting to go back, and so I think that it could be possible for her to join the dark side because she has attachments.
Yeah,
and
that's
she
a good
has
point.
these things.
She has much more to lose than. Yeah,
exactly. Than Kylo necessarily does.
Well, I guess
Kylo
not lose,
doesn't
more
really
to
have
gain.
much to lose.
More to gain.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, Kylo doesn't have
Kylo's
much to
over
gain
here
from
killing
joining
his
the dark
parents
side.
while Rey would just die to like know who her parents were.
Yeah, exactly. Kylo's being such an ungrateful little punk. Like, he's like, you know,
He's over here slaughtering his parents.
You were there for me, and so he like cuts him down. Where Rey's like, I would literally murder people just to figure out who my parents were.
Yeah, even if they're
you know
dead,
what I mean?
I don't care.
Yeah, even if they're dead, I just want to know like who they are. So I think in that sense, like, she definitely has more, like I said, to gain from joining the dark side.
Yeah.
However,
That's a good point.
to kind of combat that theory a little bit, this is why I don't think Rey will join the dark side. I don't think so because when I find that, like, you know, we watched Luke discover his powers, kind of. Like, we don't know if Luke ever had, like, a moment in his childhood where he made something weird happen, or he accidentally, I don't know, made his aunt blow up a bunch of sizes because she called his parents, like, some crazy thing. That's a Harry Potter reference. That's a really bad Harry Potter reference, but still. But I don't know if he ever had like those moments like Harry Potter had as a kid, where he like,
talking to snakes
turned
and stuff.
Dursley's, turned Dursley, gave Dudley a pigtail or something by mistake. I don't think that was ever Luke's issue. But with Rey, we do see like she was able to start tapping into the Force. Pretty much right after she was told she was a Force user. I mean,
right after she felt
that
it.
was like
pretty much
right after she felt like the movement of the Force. And I mean, obviously we know she was able to use the Force before this. I mean, honestly, I think that scene of her flying the Millennium Falcon and getting away from the TIE
That's
fighters
a perfect
was
example.
100%. Yeah, it was 100% her using the Force without her realizing it. Because I mean,
or Adam
that was a pretty
that
dope scene.
Solo's her dad, so there's that.
Yeah, or as Adam would say, so Han Solo's her dad, so she's naturally a good pilot, but that doesn't make any stinking sense whatsoever.
Shots fired.
That's such a bad theory. Like, I'm just so mad that Adam really thinks. I don't know if he's just messing with us at this point, or he genuinely believes.
No, he believes
that
it.
They're like, oh my god, it makes me so mad. There's no way, man. There's just no way.
Be careful. Watch it actually happen.
If they're siblings, oh my god, if they're siblings,
what are you gonna do?
If they were siblings, I will literally, I'll go to the concession stand right then, buy, I don't know, some of those, what are they called, those sugar cane things. I'll eat my own hat. I'll buy those sugar things, and I will snort a line of sugar right there in the movie theater.
Everyone pause the movie.
If that actually happens. Everyone stop. I need to snort some sugar. This is ridiculous. But, yeah, I don't know. There's, like I said, she's obviously used the Force before, and I think watching her use the Force, and like, obviously, like, we heard Luke say, and we heard Snoke say, and he could be referring to Kylo, but I think he's referring to Rey, that she has this raw, untapped power that is unlike anything a lot of these guys have seen before, and because of that, I think that if she was going to be on the dark side, and if she was going to go to the dark side, that it not necessarily would have happened already, but that she wouldn't be so keen to like help Finn and be so gung-ho about the First Order. And,
her nature is just a light side.
Yeah,
she just has a light side nature.
Yeah, she has a good nature. She just doesn't seem like she wants she doesn't seem like a bad guy, which I mean obviously I think would make her turning to the dark side even more incredible. But like at the same time, she just doesn't seem like she has that demeanor about her that she's gonna turn at some point in time.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think, like I said, I think that the theory of Kylo turning dark. Kylo turning light versus Rey turning dark. I would say I'm more towards the Kylo turning dark theory than I am Rey. Light. Oh my god, I'm gonna keep saying it.
Yeah,
Kylo turning
I
light.
agree with you on
Rey
that. I think
dark.
we will see, like, how we saw Luke kind of tap into the dark side when he was fighting Vader, using his anger.
Yeah.
I think we will see that out of Rey, but I think she'll realize, just like Luke did, oh, this isn't the right way to go about it, and then she'll stop.
And now that scene, and I mean, I wonder what you think about this, but that scene where they're in, The Force Awakens, and they are fighting, and we see her kind of close her eyes and tap into the Force.
Yep.
Do you think that was her calming herself and letting the Force flow through her, or was that her kind of all right, now I'm pissed, now I'm angry?
I think it was her being calm. I think that was the first time she's felt the light side. Well, she obviously felt it when she had her Force vision, because she could hear Obi-Wan and Yoda talking, but I think she was actually channeling it, and that was probably her first time ever really calming herself and using the light side, which is cool. It was awesome.
And I think, and I definitely think that moment, like you said, I think it almost proves that that it's going to be really unlikely that Rey goes to the dark side, because like you said, in that moment she had two choices. She could have stopped for a second and, like I said, been like,
Yeah.
you know what, dude? Like, now you're pushing me. Like, I'm past my point. Like, I'm about to tear into you right now. Or she could have taken that moment. Yeah, like, I'm about to break. She could have taken that moment. Instead, like she did do, and calm herself and collect her. Do a very Obi-Wan type thing, which is, you know, collect yourself. That's whenever we would see Obi-Wan in an intense moment, he wouldn't use emotion, he wouldn't use whatever, he would collect himself. He would stop and meditate and kind of get himself centered.
That's another thing I forgot to ask you. Have you ever watched the Rey's flashback with the subtitles on?
No, I haven't.
Because Obi-Wan's like over half of the dialogue, and I had no idea. He even says like Rey. I don't. He said, Rey, these are your first steps. I'm like, what? I didn't even realize that until I watched it with the subtitles on. Yeah, watch it with the subtitles on, and there's like some dialogue I didn't even know existed. I was like, what is this? I watched it like 4 times.
Yeah, I never watched it with the subtitles on, so now I have to watch it because I didn't even realize that. But I just looked at the time, guys, and we've gotten through 2 theories. I have like 10 written down, and we literally have like 5 minutes left.
We got a little sidetracked. It's okay.
We got sidetracked, but I feel like we really did get in depth and talk about you know, the theories that we talked about. Like I wanted to talk about them, which really kind of dissect them and talk about why we think they could or could not work.
Yeah.
So real quick before we finish up, I'm gonna let so real quick before we move on. So what do you think? Rey going to the dark side. What's your final say on that theory?
Rey going to the dark side, like I just said, I think it will be for a brief moment. Like I think Snoke's gonna say something to provoke her, and kind of like use her powers. I think it'll be exactly like Luke, and then she's gonna be like, you know what, I'm not gonna do this, and then So I think it's definitely more likely that we'll see Kylo come back to the light.
So maybe we have even that same like that mirroring scene, but instead of being the mirror between, you know, Empire and, you know, The Last Jedi, it's gonna be a mirror between Return and The Last Jedi, where it's like we see that, you know, she has her own throwing down of the lightsaber moment that we kind of saw with Luke, that he had, and then that torture moment is kind of that same type of thing where, you know, Palpatine tortured Luke, Snoke's gonna be the one torturing Rey.
Yeah, he's gonna be like, alright, well, if you're not gonna listen, then I'm gonna end you right here.
Yeah, and then that's when maybe Kylo jumps in,
or Luke,
and that's when he joins, or Luke. I'm thinking it's more likely going to be Luke that saves her from that torture scene than Kylo. I think that we're getting these ideas that Kylo might turn to the light side, but I don't know, man. It's all like the greatest thing about this movie up to this point is that
we don't
the
know
only
too
thing
much.
we're sure of is that we don't know anything. Like we don't know anything. Like we're completely unclear.
The Force
on
Awakens as a
all.
movie was such a big tease. Like the whole thing was just like opened up so many questions. It was
all I could say, like, I remember the minute that The Force Awakens ended, I turned to my best friend that I went to go see it with, and immediately the first thing I said was, dude, Episode 8 is gonna be amazing. Like that was my first thought was Episode 8 is gonna be intense, dude. That's like this movie was great, but it just set us up for an even better experience.
Yeah, it was just the build up.
It was such a great build-up too. Like, there's so many questions that need to be answered now, and it's great to be a Star Wars fan and theorize about all this stuff, because it's like for the first time, I feel like in a long time, we can really sit and dive into the lore and the history behind Star Wars, because we're trying to draw these connections between, you know, all these things back when the franchise first started all the way up till now, because Disney did do a really good job of rerouting everything and getting everything back on that same timeline, which I definitely, like, I love Disney movies and I love Disney characters and all that stuff, but Disney as a company, I've never been the largest fan of, and that's like not really, like, not that I hate them or anything crazy like that. It's just that they do stuff sometimes where I'm like, they only want money. Like, it just sometimes feel like at the end of the day they just want our
Look at
money,
Marvel right now.
which is which is more like exactly. And I know a lot of people are worried that Star Wars is going to go the way of Marvel, but we have to remember that it's different. This is Star Wars. Like at the end of the day, and as much as I love Marvel, because I'm a huge comic book fan, as much as I love Marvel, Spider-Man, you know, Iron Man, all these people, all these things, they'll never be Luke Skywalker. Like, they'll never be as famous as Luke Skywalker. And yeah, they're like, I mean, you know, all these superheroes are really, really, like, when it comes to pop culture, like, I mean, the superhero genre of pop culture is massive, and and like so many people love it. But it's very hard for me to think of a franchise that covers as much ground as Star Wars does. Like, nothing to me seems like as intense when it comes to their fandom, when it comes to like how many people just genuinely love it, when it comes to how crazy people are of it.
It used to be
Star Wars,
Star Trek, but that kind of died out.
Yeah, I would say like Star Trek was one of the things that got the closest. I would say that in today's world, the only thing that comes close to the fandom behind Star Wars is Harry Potter. Like, Harry Potter might be the only thing that comes nearly anywhere close. Where it's literally, even then, it's not even close. But like, Harry Potter might be the closest thing, where it's like you could literally disappear into the world of Harry Potter for the rest of your life and you would be fine. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like the superhero stuff, like all that, it's becoming so shallow. Like, honestly, the movies haven't held up. But that's another discussion for another time.
We're getting sidetracked again.
Yeah, we're getting sidetracked. That's another discussion for another time. We just love, you know, at Talking Sith guys, we just love movies, man. We're nerds. So, like, anything that has to do with movies or comic books or anything like that, it's hard for us not to harp on a little bit because we really like that stuff. But, yeah, guys, just real quick, I wanted to just real quickly just list off some of these other theories, and we're just gonna, because we hit that hour mark, so we're gonna get ready to sign off. But before we go, I got two more things I want to talk about, and then we're gonna head out. So real quick, let me just really fast run through the theories, and I'm gonna have Jared tell me yes or no, just real fast, on whether he thinks these could be real or not. So first one, Poe is a double agent.
No.
What do you think about that one?
No.
Yep. Same thing. No way.
Absolutely
no
not.
way. Absolutely not. So real quick, during his capture, a lot of people think that Kylo didn't just torture Poe Dameron, but he actually reprogrammed his mind.
Reprogrammed it to blow up.
Reprogrammed his mind to join the dark side and join the First Order.
To really make him convinced, let's blow up Starkiller Base. That's a great idea.
And then afterwards, he went and blew up the main base. So,
no, absolutely not. 0%
double
chance.
agent, 0% chance, not happening. There's this new character. So yeah, no on that one. So next theory. There's this new character, guys, in Star Wars, or gosh, I almost said Star Wars Battlefront. Star Wars: The Last Jedi. Named DJ. He's played by Benicio del Toro, and he's on that kind of gambling casino planet. There's a theory right now out there that he is a dark side user, but isn't a Sith. He's just a dark side user.
I'm gonna go with no on that.
Like I said, we don't. Yeah, like I said, we don't have a lot of time to talk about this. We're gonna talk more about fan theories next week.
I heard theories that he was
Ezra
Bridger, but that was a long time ago, so I don't know if that kind of died out.
And that was my next theory. That I was just, that was the one that I was gonna jump into right next. Was that, and with that same character, some people think that he's Ezra Bridger. I don't know about that. This is the last season, and that was one of the things I wanted to talk about. So just real quick, the very final seasons of Star Wars Rebels just started, guys. So go tune in, check it out. If you haven't caught up to Star Wars Rebels yet, go back and watch it. Season 1 through 3. They're on season 4 now, and it's the final season. It's a legitimately good show. It's a show for kids. So be ready for some cheesy moments and some like cheesy stuff to happen, because it is for kids, but it is a legitimately decent show on its own, and on top of that, it does bring a lot of theories to light about Star Wars that you might not have thought about before, because there's a lot of characters in there that we meet that are still involved in the Star Wars timeline. And there's a lot of characters that we meet that we already knew who have other things going on that we didn't know about. So, real quick shout out, or plug, I guess is the right word, but go watch Star Wars Rebels. Catch up if you haven't watched it. If you do know what's going on, the new season just started, and make sure you guys check it out. We don't talk much about Star Wars Rebel on our show. just because Adam doesn't really watch it very much. So we got to get him into it, but you know, it is something I do want to eventually start talking about as the show starts to kind of climax and it gets to a really good spot, because it's supposed to end where Rogue One begins, or something like that. Yeah, so it's good. There are going to be some really key points, not just towards what happened in the Force, or what happened in Rogue One, but there are going to be some really key things about what happened between Revenge of the Sith and Return of the Jedi. So, or I'm sorry, A New Hope. I apologize. Between A New Hope. So, yeah, guys, go watch that. But yeah, DJ, this guy who's being played by Benicio del Toro. Some people think he's Edge of Brizzer. Just real quick, like I said, we're just going through these fast. I'm gonna say no on that one. Just because I mean, they kind of.
It's hard to imagine that he made it lasted that long.
But at the time, yeah, it's hard to think that he lasted that long. And two, he'd be older. Yeah. He wouldn't. He Benicio del, like the guy who's playing him, and the way that he's portrayed in the trailer so far, he doesn't look that old. He looks like he's maybe early 40s. Ezra Bridger would be like 60 at this point.
Okay. Yeah, so that wouldn't really make sense then.
From my understanding, he would be around 60. Cause he's
he
younger.
Would have to be. He'd have to live through everything. So it'd be he'd have to be around 60.
So he'd be So I mean, he'd be around like late 80s, early 60s, basically the same age as our main characters,
I'm gonna say
or a
no
little bit
one.
younger than our main characters, but I'm thinking no on that one too. So next one, we talked about this one a little bit. Actually, we talked about this one a lot, but you know, it's coming up so much that I thought we just really had to just quick go over it. Luke is the Last Jedi. I'm not going to say no. I just don't think that The Last Jedi is what we're thinking it means, guys. Like, I think it's as simple as it is. I think, I think we're, like, when people say Luke is the Last Jedi, that means they think the Jedi Order is going to come to an end. But we already knew Luke was the Last Jedi.
Yeah, I don't think it means that it's coming to an end. I think that he physically is the Last Jedi, like...
Yeah,
alive,
and I mean, and once again, we already knew that. Like, once Yoda died, we knew he was the Last Jedi. That was... You know, common knowledge.
That's what he said. You'll be the Last Jedi.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he told him he'd be the Last Jedi, and so yeah, there's that. And then on the same vein, Rey is the Last Jedi because Luke might die. I'm gonna say no to that one too.
It's possible. I don't know.
It's possible, but
I think Luke will die. I think he's gonna die. But...
I mean, I've been on the Luke's gonna die bandwagon pretty hard up until like just about a week ago when the trailer came out. Now I'm like, I don't know. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I don't know now. Now I'm not sure. And then Kylo did. Well, we already talked about that, about Han Solo and Kylo Ren. And the very last one, Yoda returns.
No.
There's this theory that Yoda's gonna come back.
Well, maybe as a Force ghost. Yeah. So yeah, that could happen. Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's what
I'm sure Yoda will be.
He could come back as a Force
I think
ghost.
Yoda and Obi-Wan will be. Oh, maybe even Anakin. I don't know. But they could.
All I'm saying
potentially
on
be
this
there.
theory is that we know that at some point in time, Luke had contact with Obi-Wan as a Force ghost. Like he was able to contact him. Has there been contact between Luke, Yoda, and his older masters? We don't know. Like, we have no idea. But we can assume that if there's a flashback, that might be incorporated in that. That we would see him maybe having this moment where he did contact Yoda or contact Obi-Wan about what he thinks he should do. If that's the case, who will play Obi-Wan?
Ooh.
You know what I mean?
Ooh.
Because cause what's his name isn't alive anymore. Obviously, he's been dead for a while now. So it's like, are they gonna have Ewan McGregor reprise the role, or they just have the voice? That's gonna be tough.
They're gonna have to make him old, or they could probably just CGI it. But
that's what I was gonna say. But I'm honestly kind of like, I mean, I know Adam had his issues with the Tarkin CGI.
Yeah, I think they might say away from
I don't mind them CGI.
They might say away from the CGI because I had kind of a pushback from Rogue One.
A lot of people felt really messed up, and plus I know that they didn't get Peter Cushing's 100%, like his family. they didn't give like 100% like you can use his likeness for the movie, and Disney kind of went ahead and did it anyway.
Oh, I didn't know
And
that. That's rough.
yeah, I didn't know this until I didn't know this until recently either, and I was
so
like,
bad.
oh, now I can, yeah, now I can kind of understand why some people were against it, because apparently that's why there's never been a Tarkin toy until recently too, is because Peter Cushing didn't give the okay to use his likeness, and so that's why there wasn't Tarkin toys. That's why we haven't had anything until recently, is because they kind of Disney. Yeah, I guess Disney broke the rule and started using his likeness.
It's like, oh, it's not him. It's just, it kind of looks like him a little bit.
Yeah, I guess they somehow found a way to get around it. Like somehow they found a way to get around using it.
That kind of makes me sad.
Yeah, guys, that was yeah, me too. But that was my last theory that was out there. We're gonna talk a little bit more about fan theories next week, because we didn't get a chance to talk in depth about all the ones that I thought were actually really interesting, like that Return of Yoda. That actually we could talk a little bit more about that. It's really interesting. So there's definitely and I had like one or two other theories that I wrote down, but we don't have enough time. We've definitely passed that hour mark now. And, the Han Solo movie title was announced. We didn't start with this. It's probably something I should have started with, but the title of the new Han Solo.
Han the Solo. It's kind of vague, but it's cool. I'm cool with it. Yeah, he's gonna have a stronger opinion about it. They could have just called it Solo. Like, they could have just called it Solo. We know it's a Star Wars film. Yeah. Yeah, they... You know what they probably did? They probably brought in like 50 people to give their opinions on like what they should call a movie, and they ended up just going with that. The one guy who's like, let's just call it Solo, a Star Wars film. I don't know. Yeah, he'll be on. Yeah, he'll be on. Yeah. It's not that I don't like it, I just think they could have done a better job with it, the title at least. I don't know. Yeah, it's just kind of meh. Yeah, no duh. We know what it is. Alright. Yep. Yeah, it could. Yep. Yep. Oh, isn't it like Rose or something? I forget her name. I want to say Rose or something. Rosie? Rosie. Rosie. I think. I'm probably so wrong. I want to say Rosie. I'm sticking with Rosie. Yeah, she wasn't in the new trailer at all. We literally throw her in the garbage. Yep. Yep. Thanks for watching, guys. We appreciate it. Later.